Psychological development is something we do from the day we are born until the day we die. People are constantly changing and evolving through different lives based on a number of different factors, from how we were raised to where we were raised and who we were even raised by. The way that you were brought up is probably very different from how I was brought up, but we both kind of end up in the same place. And that's kind of the beauty of Jean Piaget's theory. Back in 1936, he developed this theory of cognitive development and explains how a child builds a mental model of the world around them. He disagreed with the idea that intelligence was fixed and unmoving, and regarded cognitive development more as a process that kind of occurs over time. It's unique in this case because in his theory, it parallels our own physical growth as well. It focuses more on development than just the learning of basic information for just regurgitation back out. Piaget developed three basic concepts to his cognitive theory of development: schemas, which were his basic building blocks of the world; adaptation processes that enable a smooth transition from one stage to another; and finally, the stages of cognitive development, which are sensory motor, birth to age 2, pre-operational, 2 to 7, concrete operational, which was 7 to 11, and then formal operational, which is 11 to adolescence and then further on. Piaget never thought that these were fixed times, but more as a starting point when you may see certain behaviors start to develop. The main goal of the sensory motor stage is developing what's called object permanence, which is basically the concept: if you take a set of keys and you put it under a blanket in front of a baby, that baby is going to assume that the keys have just disappeared, that they're no longer there. After you get to that point, the pre-operational stage from 2 to 7, you're able to think about things a little more structurally, a little more symbolically. It's the ability to make something stand out for something other than itself, maybe creating an identity for an object or something that you associate with that doesn't already have an identity, or that you can develop on your own. Piaget considered concrete operational, that 7 to 11 stage, a major turning point in the child's cognitive development as well, because it marks the beginning of logical and operational thought processes. Children gain the ability of conservation, reversibility, they can understand number, area, volume, those different things like that. However, children can solve problems, even though children can solve problems in a logical fashion, they're typically not able to think about things abstractly or even hypothetically as well. This means the child can work things out internally in their head rather than physically trying to figure things out in the real world. And then finally comes the formal operational stage from 10 to 11, and then last all the way to adulthood. During this time, people develop the ability to think about abstract concepts and also can test logically all of their hypotheses.